Hello students, welcome again to this last video of the second class of strategic management. We are finished by speaking about the last influence of the strategic purpose on the company. We have seen in the previous videos there are at least three main factors that try to influence in the corporate purpose of companies or try to influence on the strategic purpose. One of them is the stakeholder expectations, another is the governance structure or corporate governance, and the last one is the social responsibility and ethics. Okay. During the unit, we are going to speak a little bit more on social responsibility and ethics. We're going to speak about business ethics in general. But in this video, we are going to speak about the framework on the social responsibility and ethics and how that framework has influence in the strategic purpose of companies. Before speaking CSR, corporate social responsibility, we are going to speak about business ethics. What is business ethics? First of all, we have to wonder if there shall be a business ethics. Do you think that companies really have to look for others than their shareholders, for example? Or should the managers of the companies work just for the shareholders' profits, or should they care about, for example, society? Okay, those kind of questions are related with business ethics. We are going to try to put the boundaries of business ethics in the next slides. As usual, we are going to start by a definition, by defining business ethics. Business ethics could be defined as a set of ethical principles and moral or ethical problems that arise in a business environment. It applies to all aspects of business conduct and is relevant to the conduct of individual and entire companies. Do you think is it an oxymoron, business and ethics? Not at all. Actually, there seems to be a growing culture in our society of considering that companies have to give back certain things to society. Companies do not have to worry just for earning money. They have to give something back in exchange to society. I'm going to speak a little bit about my professional experience in EY during my last years. When a big company had to make some difficult decision related with tax policies, they used to sit down with the marketing people, even with the board of director, in order to match which one will gonna be the tax policy of the company, because nowadays society are punishing companies which are considered to make some practices of tax avoidance. So that growing culture is very, very important nowadays, and business ethics has a lot of to do with such kind of mentality. Okay, you just have to see the news to see a lot of cases of corporate misconduct. For example, you have the case of Enron, the case of Lehman Brothers, Bernie Madoff. Every year we have a big case of corporate misconduct, and business ethics has a lot of to do with that cases in order to avoid such cases. We have to wonder what is the nature and purpose of business in our society. Is just to make money, or it has to be beyond that boundaries and has to give something in exchange to the company. And finally, we as individuals make choices every day, but not only in our personal lives, as well in business or in our professional lives. And business ethics try to bring such ethical aspects to our mind when we have to make some big decision in our professional lives. We could say that business ethics, the objective of the business ethics is to expose the important moral issues that arise in various business contexts, to provide an understanding of moral, social, and economic environments within which those problems occur, to introduce to ethical and other concepts that are relevant for resolving those problems, and business ethics is useful as well to assist in developing the necessary reasoning and analytical skills for doing so. Once we have spoken about business ethics in general, there is a big topic within business ethics, which is corporate social responsibility, CSR. Okay, we are going to start by defining CSR. There are hundreds of different definitions. The most I like is this one: corporate social responsibility is concerned with the ways in which an organization exceeds its minimum obligations to stakeholders specified through regulations. When we speak about corporate social responsibility, we are not speaking about giving holidays to their employees. We are not speaking about paying taxes, which are legal obligations. We are speaking about the ways in which those companies exceed its minimum obligations legally required with their stakeholders in order to give back something in exchange to the society. Once we have the definition of corporate social responsibility, we're going to see a 1-minute video about the SCR Carroll pyramid, the pyramid of corporate social responsibility.
Corporate social responsibility, CSR. These days, we also call CSR CR, corporate responsibility. You don't need to use the S in many cases because, of course, it's obvious that the responsibility of companies is not only financial, it's not only social, but also environmental. So CSR is the company acting as a corporate citizen, or the company always thinking about their stakeholders. And CSR, whenever I think about CSR, Carroll's theory comes to mind, which says that companies have 4 basic responsibilities. Number 1 is the responsibility of being economically viable, sustainable, paying their people. That's the economic responsibility, paying your taxes, being okay financially. The second responsibility has to do with being legal. Of course, every company has to be legal, has to conduct their business in a legal way, follow the laws and regulations in which context they're actually operating. The third responsibility has to do with being ethical. Even though ethics is a very broad topic, what ethics is, it's, what is right or wrong for every individual or every company. Companies need to be ethical, need to be fair, need to be right in that sense. They should do the morally correct thing. And finally, companies also have one more responsibility: to do philanthropy. Philanthropy is a Greek word. It comes from the word philanthropia, which means that you have to, of course, give back to society or do charity. These 4 responsibilities, I think, address the issue of CSR in the best possible way.
When you desire to evaluate the degree of fulfillment of corporate social responsibility within a company, you have to wonder several aspects. You have here, for example, a sample of those aspects, internal and external aspects. And depending of the degree of fulfillment of the company, you can see if that company has a good corporate social responsibility or not. For example, you have here a lot of aspects. Of course, companies have legal boundaries related to those aspects. We are not speaking about just fulfillment with legal aspects. We are speaking about go beyond legal aspects. Okay, if a company just follow laws or regulations related with working conditions or job design or intellectual property, we cannot say that they are fulfilling, they are having a corporate social responsibility. Those aspects have to be beyond laws, okay, beyond regulations. For example, from internal aspects, you can find employee welfare if the company provides medical care, and if the company provides extended sick leave related to working conditions. What's the degree of fulfillment of job security within the company, the job design, the intellectual property, or speaking about external aspects, for example, environmental issues, not only follow laws or regulations, go beyond and maybe reduce pollution and to have a better energy conservation. Another external aspects are products. You have to wonder the quality of your products, if they are dangerous. Markets and marketing, suppliers, what are the terms of payment of those suppliers, not only fulfill with the legal terms of paying, but as well wonder if those terms are fair. Employment, community activity, or human rights. Okay, so companies shall go beyond legal boundaries, beyond what they are legally entitled to, in order to know if they are having a good corporate social responsibility. We have to put two cases about companies who fulfill with corporate social responsibility and companies who in the past they didn't fulfill with such CSR. A typical case of a company who didn't do things very well in the past related with tax policy is Starbucks. Starbucks was accused for tax avoidance of 400 millions in United Kingdom, and it appears that they transferred money to a Dutch sister company, and that's how the company didn't pay taxes in United Kingdom, for example. As we spoke, there's a growing culture of naming companies which has those kind of policies of tax avoidance, for example, and even shaming companies with the social media, with the social networks. There is a growing culture of naming and shaming companies of tax avoidance. So companies have to be very, very careful with tax policies. In exchange, here we can see a company, Procter & Gamble, who has great results in corporate social responsibility in the past, and it continues improving. Here you can read an extract of the annual report of Procter & Gamble, who says, our long-term vision is to have plants powered by 100% renewable energy. What's that? It's one of the example of a company which fulfill with corporate social responsibility. Related with corporate social responsibility, several companies provide codes of conduct that are legally binding for their employees. For example, this company, Texas Instruments, set down explicit guidelines they expect their employees to follow, not only the employees, of course, as well the members of the board of directors. As you can read here, Texas Instruments write down several questions and they provide the answer for that question. For example, what to do when you are wondering if something is legal, if an action is legal. If you think that it's not legal, of course you have to stop immediately. Do the action comply with our values? If do not comply with the company values, you have to stop. How will the action looks in the newspaper? You have to ask, if it goes public tomorrow, will you do it today? If you know it's wrong, you do not have to do it. And if you are not sure, of course, you have to ask, you have to escalate, and keep asking until you get an answer. So it's just a sample, example of best practice of corporate social responsibility by writing down several guidelines that the employees and of course the board of my directors shall follow within the companies. We are finishing today's class. As you've seen, there is a lot of key issues which has influence in the purpose of the strategic that a company is going to follow. Okay, the strategic purpose could be influenced by the governance structure, but we have seen the corporate governance of the company. It could be influenced by the social responsibility and ethics, and it could be influenced by the stakeholders' expectations. Thank you very much. I'm at your total disposal. If you have any query or any doubt, you can write me through Canvas. And we'll see you next Wednesday, the day after tomorrow. Thank you, students.